Hi, everyone. I'm joined with someone that doesn't need an introduction. Someone who's been so popular on social media, connecting people with authentic content about food. None other than Zahra Abdalla. Zahra, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
I'm very excited to be here with you as well. I'd like to understand your journey. What inspired you to start Cooking with Zahra?
So I started about 15 years ago, and I always say that food is my artistry, my therapy, and my way of connecting with people. And I think over the past 15 years, what food has represented has kind of interchanged between those three different identities. As a young mother, when I started my blog, it was a space for sharing recipes and connecting with others. And then as I continued, I started working as, I started my cookbooks. I had published the first one in 2019, the second one in 2021.
Yeah.
I've hosted 2 TV shows, and that was this era where it was my artistry. It was about creating beautiful food, creating ways to connect with people, and just inspiring and creating aspirational content. Today, I say food is my therapy. I think that, I've entered an age where you have to watch what you eat. You have to watch how you cook it, how you prepare it, where you source it from. Understand that the energy that from the food that you consume, how it can have an impact on you and your well-being. And so now it's somehow evolved into that space.
I understand. In addition to that, what I've noticed with all of your content is something about authenticity.
Yeah.
You talk about being a mom for 3 boys, your cookbooks, and even your shows. How important to you is being authentic and genuine and your real self?
It's so important because I think your expressions are so visible when you're doing
Right.
something that you don't like. And every so often I do have to pause and understand, why am I doing this? Does the why still resonate? And sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes I just have to sit and slow down and self-reflect. Because you know what? Creating content is a lot of work.
Right.
People just see the 30-second or 60-second video reel and they think that it just took seconds to create.
that.
But there's a team behind it. There's food photographers, videographer, food styling, recipe development. There's so much effort that goes in. And creating content or food that also resonates with what you have to say, what you have to share. So my why always has to be visited, and it needs to be recalibrated when necessary so that it has the longevity to continue.
I think that's really important. And one thing that's very different with the content that you do or what you've said actually is at times you slow down.
Yeah.
When we see the world, everyone picks up speed. Everyone wants to have the most amount of likes, views. But I see with you, it's very important that it authentically resonates with you. Why is that important to slow down at times and to focus on yourself?
Because for me, I always ask myself, why am I doing this? Whether it's the recipes that are on the blog, whether it's the videos on the different social media platforms, whether it's the books that are sold in the bookstores, or even, I have my frozen food range called Zahra's Kitchen, where we're in major retails across the UAE.
Okay.
Why? What is the why? And for me, my why always gets answered when I get that message from the mother that says, where's your
Yeah.
pumpkin kibbeh? Because my son's a picky eater and he
Yeah.
loves your pumpkin kibbeh. Or the mother that messages me and says, you know what? I had people over and I made that recipe. Or, your recipe saved me during Ramadan. My why gets answered. Because if I can be of service, and if I can be of service in any of those mediums,
Yeah.
then I've done my job.
I think that's a very important concept, being a service leader and trying to help everyone to deliver your message across. What do you think has been, I think, the biggest inspiration for you to continue to keep on going, not only on social media, but with your frozen food section, with cookbooks, and being a mom?
I
What's
think
kept
my
you going?
children.
Your children.
Because I have 3 boys, and every day I'm guiding them on how to navigate problems and how to
Right.
navigate situations, and when they have their hiccups, so how do they resolve it? And I think it's about using this platform to kind of learn things about myself, learn
Yeah.
how I have the longevity, how I have the resilience, how I have the grit. And then when my kids see that, not always is it easy. Sometimes there are hiccups, sometimes there's moments when you want to slow down. It's that moment of reflection that you're able to showcase.
Right.
That's what's important for me.
Important. One last question. What do you think is a good lesson that you could give to your followers and viewers about someone who wants to start a similar journey, whether in food or in another topic? What's a big lesson and learning that you can give them?
You don't need to have that perfect situation from the get-go. It's always going to evolve, and it's through your errors and your mistakes that you're going to perfect your equation. So don't be afraid of the naysayers. Don't be afraid of the people who are going to judgment your journey, because in the end of the day, we're all trying to figure out our path.
Out our way. Right.
And so if you can just give yourself grace, and also give grace to the people who are your critics, because they have their own journey.
Own journey, yeah.
So just follow your own journey and then allow yourself to change along the way, and it's okay.
I think that's the biggest lesson from today's conversation. Give yourself grace and grace to your critics, which is so difficult to actually do. And it's a very good lesson for me to actually learn. Thank you so much for your time, Zahra. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.